Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to our read-along of Hilary Mantel's Bring Up the Bodies for 2024. I have to add dates to these things now because I'm revisiting a lot of books that I love rereading with you. And we are finishing up today. We are ending 2024's read-along of Bring Up the Bodies today with the final bit of this book, which is extremely short. The chapter that we just read, Master Phantoms, was very long, 150 pages. The final bit of this book is called Spoils. And it's just a few pages long, so it takes no time at all to read. It won't be a long video, because this is the immediate aftermath of what we just saw, which was the arrest, the trial, the downfall, and the execution of Anne Boleyn, and all the people along with her. The Boleyns have been brought down, and we know from reading this book that the old family, some of the old families, the Courtenays and the Carews and whatnot, in England, took advantage of the power that Thomas Cromwell had, who's certainly not part of any old family. He's a new man, as new as they get, raised up from the slums of Putney. Those old families have entered a temporary alliance with Cromwell to get his help in bringing down Anne Boleyn. They don't like the fact that the Boleyns have grown so big and that they are so capricious and mean. And it works. Anne is brought down. Henry thinks nothing of her, wants no one to speak of her, doesn't know where his youth went, doesn't know where those 10 years went. So he's not bringing it up. And in fact, as Spoils begins, it begins with Cromwell talking to Henry, where Henry's saying, what happened to all of her things? What happened to her headdress and her gowns? Because he wants them back. He wants them either reclaimed and reworked or destroyed. He wants all remnants destroyed of Anne Boleyn in favor of his new wife, Jane Seymour. And we get that scene. There's not much of one. It's not much of a scene with Cromwell and Henry. And then we get other fallout. We're told the places at court that were held by the men who fell with Anne Boleyn, they have to be filled. Their honors and their offices, their jobs, and their sinecures all need to be parceled out to other people. Cromwell we're narrating this from Cromwell's point of view. He tells us what a lot of those people are. Those of you who know Cromwell's history, who know his actual biography, will know that he is giving honors to people who are going to betray him. But that's still a little ways off, so it just adds a little bit of extra to the book. And keep in mind, Hilary Mantel didn't write these 3 books at once. She wrote them book by book, doing a lot of other stuff in the meantime, and also dealing with horrible health. So she didn't know she was going to actually write a follow-up to this book. She didn't know that, and treats the book accordingly. That this was the story. This has a contained story. This is the story of the fall of Anne Boleyn at the hands of Thomas Cromwell. But time moves on. Henry doesn't want her mentioned. Henry has moved on to a new woman, and Cromwell has been elevated at long last to the peerage. And so the situations of a lot of his friends and also enemies have changed. Time is moving on. And that is the final note in Spoils that we get, that I actually want to read you at length because I absolutely love it. I just love how these books by Hilary Mantel, more than anything else that she wrote, are full of these little moments where everything stops and you just pause in an intimately human instant. A thought that crosses Cromwell's mind. He may have thought things like this. We'll never know. We have no record of it, but they're so intensely human that it's really comforting in a way to think that they did. And Mantel has a perfect ear for these, for any character. I want to give you a bit of a read here. It's the chapter's not long and we're at the end. We're going to wrap this up and then we'll move on. So we'll go to just a couple of paragraphs here. These light nights find him at his desk. Him is Cromwell. Paper is precious. Its offcuts and remnants are not discarded but turned over, reused. Often he takes up an old letter book and finds the jottings of chancellors long dust, of bishop ministers now cold under inscriptions of their merits. When he first in this fashion turned up Wolsey, that's Cardinal Wolsey, who had been like a father to him, a beloved figure. When he first in this fashion turned up Wolsey's hand after his death, a hasty computation, a discarded draft, his heart clenched small, and he had to put down his pen till the spasm of grief passed. He has grown used to such encounters, but tonight, as he flicks over the leaf and sees the cardinal's writing, it is strange to him, as if some trick, perhaps a trick of the light, had altered the letter's forms. The hand could be that of a stranger, of a creditor or a debtor you have dealt with just this quarter and don't know well. It could be that of some humble clerk taking dictation from his master. Another moment passes. A soft flicker of the beeswax flame, a nudge of a book towards the light, and the words take on their familiar contours, and he can see the dead hand that inscribed them. During daylight hours, he thinks only of the future. But sometimes, late at night, memory comes to nag him. However, and that however is just one word, just however, period. His next task is somehow to reconcile the king to Lady Mary, that is, the king's daughter, Princess Mary, to save Henry from killing his own daughter, and before that, to stop Mary's friends from killing him. He has helped them to their new world, the world without Anne Boleyn, and now they think they can do without Cromwell too. They have eaten his banquet, and now they want to sweep him out with the rushes and the bones. But this was his table. He runs on top of it, among the broken meats. Let them try to pull him down. They will find him armored. They will find him entrenched. They will find him stuck like a limpet to the future. Again, there's irony. They are going to succeed. He has laws to write, measures to take, and the good of the Commonwealth to serve. And his king. He has titles and honors still to attain, houses to build, books to read, and who knows, perhaps children to father, and Gregory to dispose of in marriage. It would be some compensation for the children lost to have a grandchild. He imagines standing in the days of light, holding up a small child so the dead can see it. And then we get a beautiful, beautiful paragraph, a beautiful little meditation on the way time passes, just lodged here at the end of the book. Just listen to this. Even with my bad reading, you're going to be blown away. He thinks, strive as I might, one day I will be gone. As this world goes, it may not be long. What though I am a man of firmness and vigor, fortune is mutable, and either my enemies will do for me or my friends. When the time comes, I may vanish before the ink is dry. I will leave behind me a great mountain of paper, and those who come after me, let us say it is Rafe, let us say it is Rossley, let's say it is Rich, will sift through what remains and remark, here is an old deed, an old draft, an old letter from Thomas Cromwell's time. They will turn the page over and write on me. Amazing. Just amazing. And that's how we end it. That's how we end the book, with just Cromwell in his study, looking over papers. His horrible, horrible task of bringing down a queen and having her head cut off has been accomplished. And that's how the book ends. And the natural thing here would be for us to go on in our read-along to The Mirror and the Light, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to go on to Wolf Hall. We're going to go backwards to Wolf Hall. So this will be the rise of Anne Boleyn and also the rise of Thomas Cromwell. So we will go on to this book next time with just the beginning section of it, and we'll just read straight through. So what are, actually, now that I've got you here, what are the sections of this thing, just so we know? It has 6 parts, and it is, in this UK edition, 650 pages long. So it's 6 parts, and part 1 is Across the Narrow Sea, Paternity, and At Austin Friars. So I think I will probably take each one of those subsidiary parts all by itself, rather than the big parts all, together. So we'll go through this nice and slow, nice and bit by bit. Always a pleasure to me to reread these things, so I don't mind if you don't mind. And you can skip the videos if you do. Oh, baby. Are you bored with Wolf Hall? Anyway, I'll wrap this up for now, and we'll commence soon. Thank you, BookTube.